Hi everyone. Today I want to speak with you on a very important topic, and that is need for pragmatic changes in legal education. We all know that with growing demand for lawyers in our society and with growing number of institutions which are offering law program, it is very much essential that we look into the framework of what needs to be done next, because number of institutions are coming up and they are offering law programs, whether it is BA LLB, BBA LLB, BCom LLB, BTech LLB, LLB, LLM, PhD in law, etc., and several new programs as well. So when we look into this part, there is need to look into the framework of existing legal education and what are the changes which we can do to ensure that this education uh, uh, rema- remains remains or takes the pace of the time as the society is growing, as the need or the demand for lawyers is growing, as the need and demand for lawyers with a particular skill set is growing. So it all starts with the education. It is all started with legal education. Um, let's start with a quote from Roscoe Pound, wherein he says, "Law transcended local and political limits and became an economic necessity." Reasons being that when we talk about this term called dispute, what is a dispute? A dispute is something when somebody says or mentions something and the other person says it's not true. So then a dispute arises for that matter. Uh, so law transcended local and political limits and became an economic necessity as of this moment. The primary objective of legal education is to create legal professionals. We all understand that law as a career is for creating professionals who want to practice or be in this profession for that matter. Legal education for the same should aim at furnishing skills and competencies, the basic philosophies, ideologies, and creation and maintenance of a just society. So when I interact with young kids who want to pursue law as a career, most of them want to take this as a career because they want to make some changes in a society. They want to help people they want to help people with getting justice for that matter. And that's exactly what 60-70% of the kids who aspire to do law want to actually do. uh, but when we look into the framework of growing law as a career, then these competencies have to be in line with what is the current demand for that matter. And there's a need for systematic and structural design, which should be based on performance analysis, task analysis, skill analysis, and writing performance analysis. All of them are very much required for a lawyer. Legal education should be able to meet the ever-growing demand of a society and equipped to cater to complexity of a difficult situation and different situation for that matter. Let me give you an example of the impact of AI, artificial intelligence, on the present set of laws. That's one of the point. We have taken several examples for that matter, wherein somebody was inside an automatic driving vehicle, and suddenly somebody comes in front, and there is an accident involved. So who will be responsible? Whether it is somebody who made the program for the car, is the company who made the car, is that individual who was sitting in the car, so etc., etc. Then there are several scenarios for that matter. What will happen to loss in metaverse for that matter? What will happen to loss when we talk about in the area of cyber security, which needs a push for that matter? There is ever growing demand for there will be a demand for a specialization in the space law, with companies coming up with the space travel for that matter, and possible crime which may take place for that matter. So this has to be there. uh, the knowledge, the education has to grow with the demands of the society for that matter. And the law colleges which are omnipresent in India, and for that matter, some of them even don't have the physical infrastructure for the matter, and they lack financial resources to even cater to the number of students who are studying at those institutions. And this is a very dismal scenario for that matter, because these kids who aspire to do law, who aspire to do a higher education, and who have taken admission, but due to the lack of a physical infrastructure, financial resources, not having good faculties for that matter, or not having a good library for that matter, uh, sometimes are left in a situation where they can't compete with students from other colleges in different competitions and different activities, which adversely affect their curriculum vitae, which becomes handy during the time of placement for that matter. It also calls for enabling the PPP framework to ensure government-managed law school become modernized. There are several law colleges uh, 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 which are in some government-run universities or are managed by government. So as we have taken the PPP model for all infrastructure projects for this matter, I believe that is the high time that law school should be taken on priority, and PPP model should be ensured to come into the picture. Uh, there must be a essential partnership between the bar bench, academia in the management of legal education. What happens is the legal education in law colleges and everything comes down to the management of that particular law school, and wherein some guest lectures or some occasional visits by uh, these bodies take place. But there is a lack, there's a lack of this continuous engagement between bar bench and legal academia, and that sometimes internship is that medium by which these student connects with bar and bench for the matter. But again, I believe that there's more to be done in this area, wherein more lectures or in a planned manner should be by people who are practicing law, or who are working in different departments, legal departments of various companies, or for that matter people who are associates, senior associate, or partners even in a law firm, should be involved in management of legal education in these colleges for the matter. Again, admissions to law school should be made competitive, and that's one of the essential thing. And seats should not be only filled for money making purposes. Several times we have seen that once there's no selection process involved, then the kind of students who are taking this law, kind of kids who are taking these programs is question mark for the matter. And then there comes a question mark on what kind of a lawyer, what kind of a professional one has become. Um, but but I think that's the starting point. The admission is that the starting point. There should be a stringent criterion, and should be looked into whether a candidate want to pursue law, what is his or her aspirations, what he or she wants to do. Uh, these are several of the things that must be taken into account while taking admission of kids to a law school. And education cannot be converted into just commerce purposes. Admission should be based on merit and not mere ability to pay. Most of the time, it has become more of ability to pay. Sometimes some of the kids feel that if they have if their parents can give money, they can get admissions to places. But that is a very dismal scenario again. And uh, this should be cuffed, that there should be no not even a single statement by anyone for that matter, whether a student or a parents, that money can erode this framework of admission in an institution where law is taught or going to be taught to that kid for that matter. Um, Again, we have seen times and again, I have already uh, talked about scholarship per se, and a scholarship, I personally believe that it's that one thing that will ensure inclusivity and diversity in law school or in any higher education institution for that matter. And philanthropy should come from academics as well as from industry. Vice chancellor, deans, and chancellor should institute some kind of a scholarship for the matter, and this will help in bringing this will help in bringing inclusivity in a true sense in a law school or in places of higher education for that matter. uh, Again, when I was studying environmental law for the matter, and environmental education for the matter, I came across something called environmental impact assessment, EIA. Why not we have something like that when we talk about legal education impact assessment? When somebody wants to start law school, when somebody wants to start law university for the matter, why not have a legal education impact assessment? So to look into what that university or the law college wants to do, can it really do so? What are their requirements? What do they need? Do they fulfill all the essential criterion for the matter? And what will the impact of this institution per se? So this has to be done, whether it is done today, tomorrow, or in times to come. Uh, no stakeholders are made part of approving body for setting up law schools. That's one thing that's on administrative framework point of view. legal studies have not received the importance that it ought to be, and there must be a TV channel dedicated to teaching legal studies. There are TV channels which are dedicated to uh, dedicated to uh, teaching several concepts of sciences and everything, and but there's no particular channel dedicated to teaching legal studies. I know you will say that there are programs on Rajya Sabha TV or Lok Sabha TV for that matter, where topics related to legal arena or act bills or what happens in parliament are discussed, but still it's not in but it's not in that way. They should be topics related to legal knowledge should be taught in such a manner that a person who is a layman should also understand. It's not about just making a bill, passing a bill, making an act, but it's also or implementing. It's also about the people must know of that, and a layman should know of that, and that should be the end goal for the matter. New technologies to be has to be used for the matter. Traditional legal education does not impart practical training, and practical training is should be a part of a program. I know clinical legal education is a part of many law schools curriculum. Moot court are made in the various law colleges, and students participate also in these competitions. um, but there are many law schools or many law universities where this is not made a standard practice for the matter, but that needs to be checked. Also, I have personally recommended that there's a need for digital Indian open legal library for the matter to ensure legal education is accessible to all. This will usher in a blended learning ecosystem in legal education for the matter. A library or a resource which is completely free in a single domain where people can find every information uh, related to legal education, all case laws, all bills, all act, all opportunities for the matter, notes on all laws in such a manner that even a layman can understand, videos for that matter in different languages, vernacular languages should be there, and that's missing. Also, I personally believe that law schools need an office of inclusivity to work alongside the office of admissions to ensure a law school promote diversity. And the office should work in tandem with IDIA and BNA. These are several organizations which are working towards that. Office of Incubation of a Center for Entrepreneurship should be entrusted with promoting startup cultures in law school. I know some of them are, in fact, promoting this culture, but still, a lot of action is missing in this part. And I think a separate budget should be assigned by the Bar Council of India, and the Law Ministry should also look into this framework. And I think there's a lot of scope. We should have an accelerated 2-year LLB program. That's also, I believe, the 2-year accelerated LLB program will allow a student to finish their degree and at the same time as their 5-year integrated law degree peers. Law school can emphasize apprenticeship program for these kids that will help them to save 1 year. The 1 year can be further divided into 6 month practical skills training and 6 month to learn soft skills. And I think that will bring a real change, and that will be a pragmatic change in the legal education. There's no better way to exercise imagination than the study of laws. Emerson said for that matter. I have already written on this particular topic, need for pragmatic changes in legal education. It has already been published by Hans India for that matter, and I can tell you this that this topic is very close to my heart, and I believe that all these things, if we are able to do so, this is an article which I'm talking about. So I believe that if we are able to do some of these changes, even 10% of what I believe should make a difference, then we will see a different picture altogether. Looking forward to see these changes with support of all of you. Thank you so much.